Hey, Az and fellow YouTubers. Um, you know what happens if you wait to make a video until you have time and the opportunity to plan what you're going to say? Absolutely nothing. Nothing happens. So I'm going to try winging this. If it doesn't work, I'll make it again and make it again until I get so I can post up there. As I have had a chance to watch Text and Context, the two, 1 and 2, Text and Context as a scientific discussion. It was great. I came back and there were just tons of things to watch to catch up. I watched all 5 of Scouty's responses to your initial deal, and I'll have a lot of fun hooking up with her later. But I'm going to try to tie in little pieces of response to several videos, and I'm going to, if I end up speaking authoritatively, just remember that, I'm just putting it out there and totally expect to hear back from people who disagree, that kind of thing. So here we go. Let's start with all of our discussions on meaning. I see what I consider an immediate error that we've all bought into, and that is the difference. We're not making a distinction between meaning and understanding. And let me start by saying meaning is the product of, or it's the intention of, a human being, in this case, a sentient being with volition. I decide what I want to communicate. I decide what it is I'm going to attempt to achieve, to accomplish, to get someone to do. And I take my intent, and through language, I try to communicate my desire. And that's the meaning. And then we all agree, because in the post you see it over and over again. We all go, well, that's not what I meant. And we go, oh, isn't that ironic? No, that's exactly what it is. You meant. It's whatever you meant. That's the meaning. Duck. I know what I meant. You don't. But now you need to attempt to understand. Okay, so let's have a distinction made. Meaning is almost like reality. It's established by the person who attempted the communication. That's the only authoritative source you can go to get the meaning. The understanding, however, is something we all attempt to do, and that you can say, I gave it my own understanding, or this is my understanding. Those of us that are saying we can give it our own meaning, that's incorrect. You can disregard, you can not attempt to conclude, accurately as possible what the person intended to communicate, what the meaning was, what the meaning is. You can blow it off if you want to, but if there was no meaning, you can't give it meaning. You can just say, I'm going to take it this way, this is how I'm going to respond. Okay, so meaning, if there's no volition behind it, there is no meaning. To that, I'll probably have to remake this video, but a quick point on that then, as far as meaninglessness or not. I think as you concluded that there is no meaning, at least to humanity. And I think for an atheist that I can't argue with that conclusion, because I do feel that if there's no volition, no creation, if we're an accident of the universe, evolution, etc., then we can misapply the meaning of meaning. Wow, that is ironic. Whatever, we can continue, as you said, it's not to continue for a reason, not to continue because there's a purpose to continue, it's because that's what we do. I can't argue with that, other than to say it's possible to be incorrect. I firmly believe that we're not an accident, that at the very least, we're created, we're artificial intelligence of some sort. So, wouldn't argue that if we are absolutely byproduct of I can't even fathom that concept well enough to express it. But anyway, however, if you think that in any way we are a created or intended being, if life as we perceive it is something created and intended, then all of a sudden there is meaning and there is purpose, and it becomes more of a question of how much effort do you want to put in to try to get an accurate answer to the questions. This might be a good place either for me to stop or check the time on this video. There's just so many things. Language. Talk about meaning. I may not disagree at all with the fact that all is context, but If you mean that language is context, then I don't agree. I think we can make a distinction, and here's the distinction I make. I would say that language is a temporary contract or agreement, to usually a compromise between like minds, human beings in this case, not even trying to think about communication or language between that other animals seem to have, but between you and me, as it's an agreement, it's a contract. If I say duck, you either duck if you think I want you to lower your head, or you look for a goose, right? You look for a duck. But if I say pencil, we pretty much have an agreement on what that means. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't bring up context, but here's the distinction as I see it. Our contract is on the address on which we're going to store all the information and the context related to the word, to the address, the context that we want someone to be able to appeal to. So, however you learned pencil, when you learned it, you did learn in ways I can't express, but you, in context, I think Scouty touches on a number of theories for how we learn language, but dismisses them all when it seems to me obviously it's a combination of all of those things. We have 5 senses, and we learn through, you can learn through single input or multiple input all at once. The point is, we file it somewhere, and you have to give it an address, and language gives it an address. And the first time somebody said duck, and you didn't duck, and you got smacked in the head with something, you filed a whole experience away under the address of duck. And that's as far as I'm going to go. I'm going to come back. I want to talk about other things, but that's what I believe happens. I believe we've got a filing system right here, and I thought it was hilarious as you brought up the other video, and you totally caught the irony of it, where you and some buddies are on the internet and on the phone trying to discuss what the best word for positive, good-natured, jolly atheism was. And it was just great. It was great to watch and see how you guys were working out what I'm saying language is. You guys are trying to come up with an agreement on an address for, and then there's all this information that you guys have tucked away under, and I don't know if you guys ever decided what kind of atheism that was going to be. The Pillsbury Doughboy atheism, or whatever it was, okay? So I'll stop, because I like short vids, and I'll come back and add some more later. I think I'm going to make one called I Am, You Are, and There Is, because I think that's the key to meaning, to reality, etc. So I'll be back soon, but I'm going to stop, see how this came out.